No more dancing hamsters.
And no more dancing hamsters. Those are cute. And that's one thing that, as the lead in marketing, I have to constantly protect the brand from moving forward as opposed to looking back.
Hello, everybody. We're here today in New York City at One World Trade at Constellation's offices, and we have a really special guest with us, don't we, Diana?
Yes, I'm really excited, Jamie. I can't believe you said yes.
Well, it's New York Auto Show week, and we're here with Russell Wager, VP of Marketing from Kia America. Russell, so great to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me in this awful view of a building out here, up here. But no, really, seriously, great to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
First quarter sales are pretty much all announced, not quite, but pretty close. Looks like the overall market's down about 4%. Kia's up about 4%. Is that kind of how you see the year playing out?
We were fortunate enough to build on last year's record sales, sold over 800,000 for the first time, 850,000. And January was a record, January all-time. February was a record. And as you know, March last year was right before the tariffs were going to be announced on April 1st. So a lot of car sales were pulled ahead. So pretty much no one was going to get a year-over-year increase. Mm-hmm. But to your point, the quarter was our best first quarter ever. And, part of that is the momentum that we're starting to see with the brand new Telluride. Mm-hmm. That's behind me here. And it's just starting to get into dealerships. The gas engine's there. The hybrid is just starting to arrive. So if that momentum continues, as well as, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about what happened at the auto show with those future products, we're hopeful that the momentum will continue throughout the year.
I actually love your brand, Russell, mainly because I think people know that I'm Korean, South Korean. And so just back in the days when I first came into the US, Hyundai and Kia were not necessarily the brands that were doing so well in the United States. But I have to tell you what warms my heart the most is some of the people that work here, they're fairly young. And I was like, what is the highest car in the market? Like, we talk about these subjects a lot around here. And they were like, me and my family members right now looking at a Kia. And so I'm like, wow, this is amazing that the younger generation really finds that you are one of the most popular cars out there for them. What changed?
For 25 years, we had been talking about Kia being America's best value. Right? And that's not a bad thing, but at the time, best value largely meant we were cheaper. Mm-hmm. And now we still think we're a great value, but value equates to what is in the car from a technology, a safety, convenience features, and the design. The design for the cars over the last 5 to 7 years have been much more appealing to consumers. So now they're getting the best of both worlds. They're getting a car that they want to be seen in, and they're getting all of this safety and peace of mind. So it's put us on a lot more consideration list. And to your point, a lot younger list. I think we are either number 2 or 3 youngest median age for our buyers.
Wow. And I saw that. Actually, the person I was asking was somebody who was newly married. Mm-hmm. I find that some of these young adults that work here got married early, like 23, 25. And when you ask about, like, what are you thinking about purchasing, they always mention Kia. So I love that.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, what is marketing's role in redefining a brand that way? Obviously, you can't just advertise your way into having people think that your stuff is really well engineered and well designed. But what is your role or your team's role in helping that whole function?
It is not something that happens overnight. You've got to figure out where you want to head to and work towards it. And we've been working towards it for more than 6 years. And it's really a simple strategy. We wanted to communicate that we had sporty sedans, so appealing to the younger with the sportiness. We wanted to communicate that our SUVs were capable SUVs. And then when we started bringing electrification of EVs and hybrids and plug-in hybrids, we wanted to talk about our innovative electrification models. That 3 simple little strategies is what we've been focusing on for 6 years. We tell the different stories that ladder up to each of those, but people are now seeing that. So the younger generation, as you said, sees that if they want a sedan and they don't want something that they think might be a little too conservative for them, they look at our GT and GT lines and our K4 and brand new K4 hatchback that just came out this first quarter. Those are flying off the shelves as soon as they hit the dealership. So that's good. And then our SUVs. Yes, most people will never take an SUV off-road, but we show that you can if you want, and ideally you can live the dream that you bought in buying an SUV.
I want to come back to your products and the New York Auto Show, but let's talk about some of the news that we kind of have to touch on. Gasoline's gone above $4 a gallon. Oil, this April 2nd now, oil just topped $110 a barrel. Maybe could be worse. Maybe it will get worse. How are you thinking about, the president is indicating maybe the hostilities can be over in a few weeks. Something that's of that magnitude versus something that might go on for several more months.
One of the products that we launched here was the Seltos hybrid, first hybrid for the Seltos. And that's been on our product plan for a while, right? And we also revealed our EV3. It's an electric vehicle. I'm going to call it attainable SUV that comes in under where our EV6 is. So 2 new products that have been in our pipeline for a few years. They didn't just come out because what's happening in the last six weeks. A lot of people say, wow, you guys look like geniuses. It's like, it doesn't happen that way. But the benefit of having some of our production actually here in West Point, Georgia. So we make the EV6 and we make the EV9. And we make now the Telluride hybrid in West Point, Georgia. So if all of a sudden we see demand as it is growing for hybrids and electric vehicles one more time, we can start to shift and be a little flexible with our production and ramp that up a little bit. So that's one way we can address it. In whatever the resolution and whenever the timing of the resolution, it's not going to be like an overnight switch that everything just resets back to normal. And I think what we've seen, you talked about the $4 per gallon nationwide cliff. In California, it's $6. So people are now, as they're thinking about their vehicles, geez, maybe I should pay that premium. There's a little bit of premium for a hybrid, right? Or maybe I should rethink again electric vehicles so that when electric vehicles had the ability to get the $7,500 tax credit, and we were up to almost 10% of EVs being sold in a month, and now we're down to like 4%. It's starting to creep back up again.
That's so interesting. So are you guys, I've heard from other manufacturers that they're backing off their EVs. It doesn't sound like that's what Kia is doing.
We are committed to giving our customers choices. So we make a wide range of gas vehicles. As I just talked about, we brought in Seltos hybrid. So now our SUVs have a full range, whether it's Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, Telluride, all of them have an offering in a hybrid. And now with bringing the EV3 in the second half of this year, we've got an EV3, we've got an EV6, we've got an EV9, we've got a Nero EV. So again, offerings to make choices for our customers.
So I have another question on that then. I have heard that there's a difference of EV adoption from the West Coast and the East Coast. Do you find that's actually the same for Kia?
When we talk about our EV sales mix, California's got our highest penetration. It's got the highest market share. I think it started because there was some infrastructure there and just an openness to it, but it's spreading. So Miami is doing pretty good. New York area is doing pretty good. So it's not everywhere, but there are definitely pockets of adoption. And I think one of the key things that has made adoption accelerate throughout the country is the charging infrastructure. So not everybody, so here we are in the city, not everybody has access to park their car and charge it overnight in their apartment, condo, whatever. So you need a public charging infrastructure, which is one of the reasons we started to partner with a few other OEMs with a charging network called Iona. They're 2 years new, and they have already got 100 charging stations around the country, and they're all fast charging. And the beauty of fast charging is our technology allows for our cars to take that quicker. So the EV3 that we just put in there, for the reveal can go from 10 to 80% charge in 29 minutes.
Wow.
So, and most of our EVs have the fast charging capability to do that as well.
That's amazing.
And are they also Tesla Supercharger, Tesla network available?
Yes. So since the beginning, middle of this year, we get access for our Kia customers with an agreement with Tesla at their charging network as well. So that's what we talk about. The infrastructure allows now for more people for peace of mind.
Mm-hmm. For those who aren't familiar with Iona, it's backed by the automakers. There are a lot of automakers pooled together to help build this network, and it's really been helpful or it seems like it has the chance, but also the agreements with Tesla really just opened up a lot more charging availability for consumers.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that all our compatriots decided to partner with Iona as well as us. As you said, there's 7 or 8 in that group, and those are stations that have covered on it. So most of the time when you go to a charging station, you're either out in the back parking lot or uncovered and just sitting there. These are making it so that it's a little bit more of a convenience element to it, and they're going to continue to grow in that area, which I think will make it a little more acceptable for people to not have a charger at home and still consider buying an EV.
I find it funny because sometimes I visit dealers and they're so angry. I have to tell you, Russell, not Kia stores, but I think they would be very happy, by the way, just because sales is up. But sometimes I listen to them and they go, my floor plan is through the roof because of these EVs. It's killing me. It's choking me. An $80,000 EV is not what I wanted on floor plan. And now I've got to carry 20 of them. Right? Do you ever hear that from the dealer markets?
Yeah. So, I mean, when things whipsaw quickly, we can't adjust our production like overnight, but we work towards it. And, let's take EV9. EV9, we were selling 2,000 a month and producing them out of our West Point, Georgia plant at that clip. And then all of a sudden it sort of fell out and we're down to about 1,000 a month. And we reduced our production. So we've made it so that the dealers are not having to have these cars on their floor plan for long. We try to maximize the turn rates.
That's great.
That's the goal for us and them. It's not to build a whole bunch of cars and have them sit. That doesn't do anyone any good. And now, so we just talked about it. So we had taken it down, and now the dealers are, we need some more. So we'll work with our factory and try to adjust production to build it back up a little bit as the demand continues to go up.
We talked a little before about the success of the Telluride, and clearly it seems with the new Seltos, just looks like both the Seltos and the EV3 really look like they took a lot of cues from their lauded big brothers.
Yeah, that's the idea, right? So Telluride's a great vehicle, did great in clinics, and when we took the Seltos to clinics before putting it on sale later this year, people said, I don't need a 3-row, but this looks like a mini Telluride. I like this. Similar look, star map lighting, same thing on the interior features. It is everything that you could think about getting in our full-size SUV of Telluride is in the Seltos. And then the same thing for EV3. If you can't or don't need a 3-row EV9, you can get the 2-row EV3.
There are so many manufacturers now, right? And even like the direct-to-consumer ones that have come into the market. Do you believe they're all going to make it?
I am definitely not a soothsayer in that, but I will tell you that we at Kia believe in the franchise system. We can't do it without our dealers, and it's a great partnership that we have with them. Besides helping customers in their local communities, be embedded in their local communities, giving back in their local communities, servicing the cars in local communities, that's a huge benefit for customers. And from our standpoint, that's something that we're never going to entertain going away from. For those that are trying to do it otherwise, we'll see. Different choices. I just hope that the customers get the proper service.
There's a lot of worried dealers right now because, and I love dealers, Russell. I mean, like, I've been in the auto industry over 30 plus years, and I love the fact that when COVID happened and doors even shut down, I mean, I had like therapy sessions with some of these dealers, and I love them so much. So I would stay on for like 2 hours and just talk through the process of what we had to do next. Some of them are my favorite female dealers as well. And I felt very troubled during that time. Like I lost sleep with them because they were losing sleep. I mean, this is their family business, right? And then I love the fact that the highest grosses actually happened during that time. Inventory was low, but they figured out a way to get out of these things, right? And then tariff hits. I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go again. But you always see the best of the best just continue to rise and get through it. And I love that about stores. So my question would be, do you see up ahead still clear blue skies for Kia and Kia dealerships? Are you worried about anything? Are there any challenges that you worry about?
We worry about things all the time, right? Because there are things that are in our control and there are things that aren't. And the things that are not in our control, that gives us a little pause at times. But you made a really great point, which is dealers are entrepreneurs and very adaptable, right? If the market changes, they figure out ways within their systems. COVID was a great example of how they figured out still to deliver cars to customers during a difficult time. Right? And that was awesome. I think that the biggest thing that we look forward to as a company is we're going to execute our business plans. We're going to put them out. They are not 3-month plans. They're not 6-month plans. We've got long-range plans. And we will have to adjust as we go through based on what's happening in the market. Sure, would I love it to be smooth sailing and us be very clear on what's going to happen from a geopolitical standpoint and a political standpoint over the next 18 to 24 months? But we all know that there's no crystal ball and things are going to always change. So we'll do our best to keep our customers in the front. That's who we're focused on. Mm-hmm. We will do, and by the way, saying our customers, it's a combination of the people that ultimately buy our cars as well as our dealers. Our dealers are our customers as well.
Sure.
And we're going to do what we can do to make sure that they stay profitable. And in doing that right now, a lot of companies went different ways when tariffs came in, and we chose not to pass the tariff costs on to our customers, i.e. our dealers, then to the customers.
Do you also try to increase production domestically?
Well, we already had put in the plans to bring EV6 and EV9 to here, so that was already well down the road.
Yep.
And we already had in the plans to build the second plant in Savannah, Georgia, the Meta plant. Mm-hmm. And we actually just announced yesterday that we're going to start production at the end of May of the Sportage hybrid there. Mm-hmm. So those things were already in the works. And it's, again, either somebody's saying that we're a genius or just had great foresight. It's you got to put a plan together, and we try to localize as much production as possible, but at the same time, we maintain some flexibility. So the Seltos will be made in Korea because it is a global car, mm-hmm. but they've now added an extra line. So last year we sold a little under 60,000 Seltos, and it was largely because we were restricted on production that we could get. Because it is sold in a lot of other countries and it is a smaller SUV, so a little bit more adaptable to Europe and Asia, et cetera. But now with that extra line, we're going to have the flexibility to get more production here for our dealers and our customers. So it's good when you got production in multiple places.
As I mentioned, I'm South Korean, mm-hmm. and I follow a lot of the South Korean news, especially because I still have family members that live there, and they always constantly tell me, Russell, that the economy is terrible right now in South Korea. And I always feel like South Korea is one of these countries we're always punching above our weight, because it's like such a small country. But then everybody eats Korean food now, and everybody looks at K-drama and K-pop. I'm like, how the hell did that happen, right? And your vehicle is the most popular here in the United States. And I'm like, how did that happen? And so I'm very proud of the country, but I wonder sometimes, based on their economic climate, because they're not doing well, right, in that area. And I even heard that because of the Iran war, they're actually one of the countries that may suffer the most because of gas, not getting it. I've even heard that they have a 9-day supply left, and it's getting very bad. So do you think any of those things happening in Korea will affect production and things here in the United States?
We are a global company and everything affects us one way or another. So to your point, if there's some difficulties in whether it's Korea or a couple other countries, sometimes we take the added burden of trying to make up for them, as times in the past they've tried to make up sometimes for us. So that's the coordination that we have from the headquarters. From our standpoint, let's just take Seltos as an example. If for whatever reason a market, whether it is South Korea or another, is not doing well, then that's the flexibility that can be shifted maybe more towards us to help at a time, and vice versa. If somebody all of a sudden needs some more Sorrentos, because Sorrento is a very hot car in South Korea, it can go the other way. So it's not easy. But it's the benefit of being flexible in where we can make and shift production.
Is it tariff induced, or is there another malaise of some sort in the South Korean economy?
I think tariffs definitely hurt, but I just think that the overall economic climate's never been that great, and it feels like it's getting worse.
Russell, you mentioned a couple of times the importance of being a global company. You're also a company that's part of the Hyundai Group, and all the things that entails. It's not even just a giant automaking group. Of course, it's a steel maker and a bank and all these other businesses they run. What is it like for you in the relationship with Hyundai? You share a lot of technology, but you're really separate companies. Sometimes you work together, like at the Savannah plant, but other times, seems like a pretty fierce rivalry. How do you and your team look at that partnership?
We're family, right? At the end of the day, but customers look at us as two different companies, and therefore, because a lot of our products are similar, right? Maybe not design, but a lot of our base of our products are similar. We got a pretty high cross shop. So it's sometimes 20-30%. So if somebody's thinking about a Telluride, they're also cross shopping us to a Palisade, Santa Fe versus Sorrento, Tucson, and Sportage, etc. So we've tried to collectively find our respective white spaces. So that's one element of it. But at the same time, we can help each other. So you talked about one right now, which was the Savannah plant, and Hyundai is producing some of their cars there already, the Ioniq 5 and 9, and we're going to do Sportage, and we'll figure out what future production goes in there together. But just take a marketing activity. So we are jointly the automotive sponsor of the FIFA World Cup. And that's just a small little thing. If you hadn't heard, come in the summer, about 3 Super Bowls a day for 39 days. And we're working really well together. In the U.S., it's going to be at 11 different venues, and we parse out each of those venues. So Hyundai's taking some, we're taking some, so that we can maximize some investment with a little efficiency.
So you're not side by side in the same stadiums, but you divide it up and go your own ways.
Correct.
In Korea, Kia was supposed to be the ugly sister, but the ugly sister became the more beautiful sister.
Right, like the ugly duckling, right?
They were supposed to be the small guy, but somehow Kia was like, nah, not going to be small. We're going to dominate. And I'm very proud of that, because now you got 2 Korean brands that are really dominant here in the U.S., and it wasn't supposed. I don't think South Koreans ever
Genesis
thought that.
is growing fast.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Retail sales wise, Kia is the number 5, and Hyundai's number 6. So we're, to your point, we're the top brands, and there's a little bit of a gap. Who's above us in some others, and that's okay. But we've risen from being we were barely in the top 10. And just in 6 years have gone up because consumers have seen the products that we've been putting out there. We've been meeting their needs, and they're reacting and helping us grow our footprint here.
Before we let you go, I want to ask about some more sports marketing, because I'm not as big of a FIFA fan, but I am a big NBA fan.
Okay.
And of course, Kia has been a sponsor of the NBA for a while. I saw you got to go to the All-Star game. And what does that partnership mean for Kia, and what demographics do you feel like you're hitting with it?
We've been a partner with the NBA for more than 17 years now, and we also partner with 14 teams. We're also a partner of the WNBA. Now, I want to clarify that because in the last couple of years, WNBA has taken off, which is great. We were a partner for 5 years ago. So we didn't just jump on the bandwagon. We saw some things beforehand. We wanted to try actually help the WNBA grow. So we have the Kia Skills competition during the NBA All-Star Game. We said we want to be the partner of the skills competition for the WNBA All-Star Game. So we helped there. And we're trying our best to add some teams. So we did our first team deal in the WNBA with the Phoenix Mercury. So we're taking lessons that we've learned and helping both leagues back and forth. What it means for us is the audience of the NBA and the WNBA is once again a younger audience and a much more engaged audience. And when I say engaged, they engage socially and they talk about it. It is not to say that it's as big as the NFL, but it's definitely a group that aligns with our demographics of who we're looking for and making products for. And it's just fun all around at the end of the day. And the NBA now has, with the WNBA, has become a year-round effort. It's no longer just in the season, right? So you start with the season starting in October, and you go through and you get to the playoffs in May and June. The WNBA kicks in partway through in June. You get to the draft, and there the WNBA playoffs end in September, and then we start all over again. So if you're a basketball fan, you got 12 months worth of fun to watch.
And 12 months worth of Kia.
Ideally, yes. Ideally, yes.
Russell, you're the VP of marketing at Kia. I find it fascinating that Kia has become a trendy brand. It's not like, everybody's just buying it because of the beauty and the price, but it's actually trendy. And the younger generation really loves it, trendy things that are happening. How did you do it?
The designers are awesome in figuring out a design philosophy that can go across multiple models, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just a one-off. Mm-hmm. So we just talked about the Seltos being a little mini Telluride, and people love the boxy shape of our SUVs. So that's one part. Then you get to our sedans, and they love sporty. But not everyone needs a sporty engine. So you can get the GT with its turbo, or you can get a GT line that doesn't have the turbo but looks like the turbo. So the design team is really good at understanding what resonates with a younger audience, but by the way, still appeals to an older audience too, right? Everybody wants to be young.
Yeah, that's true.
So that little delicate balance, and then look at just some of the color choices, as simple as that. So we just came out with the K4 hatchback in a sparkling yellow color. We'll sell a bit of it, whether it's 10%, 15%, but it's just an eye-catching halo-type color that makes us like, okay, now that might be a little too bright for me, and I'm going to get the white or the black or the silver, but that made me think and look at that car. So that's the idea.
Nice.
Cool. Russell Walker, thank you so much for joining us. This was fun.
Thank you very much for having me here. And you guys hopefully get over to the show and spend a little time and see our booth. And anyone that's listening, if they're able to do that as well, we'd love to show them what we have.
Thank you, Russell.
Thank you very much.